Welcome to the Bharat Varta podcast. I have a very special guest today. Tejasvi Surya is the Member of Parliament from Bangalore South and he represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's also one of the youngest MPs in the Lok Sabha today, and we'll be talking to him about his journey and how the youth of this country can make a difference in our politics. Namaskar Tejasvi, thank you so much for joining us.
Namaste Roshan, thank you and my best wishes and regards to all viewers of Bharat Varta.
Right. So to get started, maybe you could take us through your journey briefly. From the bylines of Bengaluru to the Lok Sabha. What has that journey been like?
It has been extremely humbling, filled with a lot of learning, and also most importantly, it has been a journey which has only reinstated my faith in the Bharatiya Janata Party, its ideology, the essential inherent democratic strength of our constitution, of our polity. And through this whole journey, I have come to realize that if there is one political party in India which represents truly the spirit of democracy as envisaged by our founding fathers, where irrespective of your financial, political, social backgrounds, your commitment to a political party's organization, its ideology can always take you afar. To be very honest, Roshan, I am not the smartest guy, nor am I the most capable. There are far more capable, far more committed people who are in the party cadre out there. But I have had the opportunity of representing them and representing in general the youth of this country, thanks to the tectonic shift in the country's polity that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ushered in 2014. I come from a very normal family, normal middle class family that most of us come from. My father is a retired government official. But my upbringing has always, ideologically, I have always been exposed to Ramakrishna Ashram, the Vivekananda mission, Swami Vivekananda's teachings, the RSS, the Vidyarthi Parishad. So the journey essentially has been more ideological, where my commitment to the party, my commitment to the organization has been primarily because of the ideology that they represent. So in that sense, since the time that I was first exposed to Swami Vivekananda, the natural question that came into my mind was which political party and organization represents closest the ideals of Swami Vivekananda. And without a doubt in my mind, it was the RSS, the ABVP and the BJP. And as a student, I was a part of the Vidyarthi Parishad. And my training as a lawyer helped me understand the journey of the country's freedom movement, its influence on the constitutional development of India. And all of that also helped me gain some perspective on what else needs to be done as young Indians. And 2014, I would consider is a very, very important year in all of our lives, especially in our generation. Because, just like the 1975 emergency movement triggered a lot of young population's participation in the polity of India, then 2014 also triggered a lot of young people's participation in India's political discourse, thanks to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's aggressive youthful campaign. So I was at the forefront of organizing many programs, rallies, distributing pamphlets, making signboards, wall paintings, organizing street corner meetings. So this was what we did. A bunch of us, friends, we are all together started this organization called Namo Brigade. Across the state of Karnataka and elsewhere, many young people came together on this platform, and our mission was very simple: one-minded focus of ensuring Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes to office. So thereafter, I joined the Yuva Morcha, and then in the Yuva Morcha, I have performed multiple roles as a secretary of the state, as the general secretary in the later term. I have been the spokesperson for the party. I have been the lawyer for the party, representing the party and its ideas and causes in multiple judicial forums in the state of Karnataka and elsewhere. I have organized musical programs for the party. I have compared party events. I have drafted party manifestos. I have handled social media for the party. So, the party is such a wonderful forum for young people because this party alone gives you different platforms to exhibit and work on your talent and thereby contribute to the larger ideology. So in essence, I wouldn't be here without the party's support. The party has given me identity. The party has given me a platform to exhibit, my capacities, my strengths. The party has also given me an opportunity to work on my limitations. The party has also given me a platform to learn so much every single day. So, in essence, if I have to sum up, Roshan, the journey from the bylanes of Bengaluru South to the August House of Indian Parliament, it has been paved through very sincere, very dedicated and very concerted hard work with absolute commitment to the party's ideology as a young Karyakarta of this party. So, Tejasvi plus Bharatiya Janata Party organization is everything. Tejasvi minus Bharatiya Janata Party organization is nothing. So this is, the strength of the party, which can empower any individual, howsoever common he is, howsoever modest he is, howsoever small he is, to reach the greatest of strengths. This is the strength of the Sanghatan.
So Bangalore South is a traditional stronghold. Did you expect getting the ticket from that prestigious, constituency at this age, right? At this very young age? Why do you think you were selected by the party? And, if you could take us through a little bit about how these decisions work within the BJP, that would be really good.
Yeah. So, so because I was interested in, politics from a young age, and I was in the Vidyarthi Parishad, later I joined the BJP officially. It would be wrong to say that I was not interested. I did not ever pursue or nurse electoral ambitions. Of course I did. Many people, especially to many young people out there, my, message or my suggestion to all of them rather is that, if we approach politics from the very narrow prism of electoral politics, that I want to be an MLA or I want to be an MP, it's very narrow way of approaching politics. Because, only 500 odd people can become an MP in the country, and there are only a few, 1,000 MLAs who can become MLAs in the country. But the party as a platform offers a lot of opportunities for you to engage with the political system, which is very important and vital. One thing that always stands out, whenever Prime Minister Narendra Modi says this, and even Barack Obama has said this in multiple places, that any young person who comes or dreams or aspires to be in politics must always focus on what he wants to do than what he wants to be. So, for me, the two key ideas that always have driven me is one, Hindutva, two, the potential of India to be a very strong and prosperous nation, and thereby Indians being economically very strong. So these two ideas are something which always have kept me awake at night, have made me, fret about the state of affairs, have made me feel helpless when things weren't going, the way I thought must be going. So these questions, the strong desire to effect some positive change in the polity through whichever platform, politically, socially, otherwise, is something that is prerequisite for anybody who aspires to be in the public sphere. So this is the first thing, which has been so, in my case, I have always been so hungry to effect this change, to be a part of the political system and contribute in some positive manner. Having said that, Roshan, I never expected that I would get this opportunity this, soon. And it again happened because of, cruel twist of fate. Because, Anant Kumar ji, who was one of our tallest leaders of the party, he unfortunately passed away prematurely. He was only 59 when he passed away, and he had a good, at least 15 years of public service left, because I always keep saying that he was the best chief minister Karnataka never saw. So, when a man of such great standing, passed away and all of that. So I was, aghast because I was one of his closest, ardent followers. He has been a mentor to me right from my childhood days. So, but I did talk to a few seniors in the party, and I asked if I could get an opportunity to represent the constituency that he was representing, because I live there, I have grown up there, and if the party will give me an opportunity, I would try my very best to live up to these ideals which he espoused for so long, so that I would be a worthy successor of that great man in every sense of the term. And Roshan, the beauty of this party is this, that this process of identifying somebody is not done overnight. It's a process that is done, as a continuous evaluation process. So, I have been with the ABVP and the party itself for about, I have been with the party for about 5 years, 6 years. I have been about 4 or 5 years, earlier with the ABVP and the Sangh ecosystem. So the leaders, all of them had seen me from, about 10, 12 years. They had seen my growth, seen my work in the party. And most importantly, they placed an immense trust that I could potentially create, also add a lot of value to the party. So there are two ways, these decisions are made. Some people are given an opportunity when the party feels that they have already contributed a lot to the party and the ecosystem at large, and therefore the party gives them their due by, recognizing their work. In some other cases, the party recognizes a potential talent in an activist or a karyakarta, and then with the fond hope that they can contribute even more to the ideology, the cause, and the party, they will give them an opportunity. So I think I fall in the second category, where I had shown some, promise, some kind of a commitment, some kind of a, faith among our party leaders, which essentially made them come to the decision that they could give me this opportunity. More importantly, this is not something that is new in the BJP. When Anant Kumarji contested for the first time, I think he was 31 or 32. He wasn't very old when he contested for the first time. Yogi Adityanath, the Honorable Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, was a first-time MP when I think he was 27. So, the party, unlike the Congress, where only dynasts get an opportunity to be, a member of parliament or a member of the legislative assembly at a relatively young age, unlike those parties, the BJP identifies talent and capacity and commitment amongst its cadres and gives an opportunity. So I think, all of these things came together. The fact that there was a vacancy in the constituency, the party wanted to take this decision, and most importantly, Narendra Modi, in the last 6 years, if you have observed, has made a very concerted effort at bringing young people into the mainstream political discourse. So, his approach has been towards bringing more and more young blood in politics and political discourse. So, I think even that has played a very important role, because they have very clearly, the party has wanted to give more responsibility, more voice, and more opportunities to young people. And I happen to be just one of those people who the party, wants to give opportunities to.
Right, right. So earlier you mentioned that, an ideological overlap was a prerequisite for you to associate with the Sangh and the BJP as well, right? And the ideology that we perceive the Sangh and the BJP with is Hindutva. It's something that is embodied by the institutions. How would you define Hindutva for the modern age that we're living in, and what would you say would be Hindutva's appeal to the youth of the country?
So, Roshan, Hindutva is a very simple yet a very profound social, political, and philosophical construct. See, you must understand that Hinduism and all religions of Bharat, all spiritual and religious traditions that have taken birth in Bharat, are by their very nature non-exclusivist, non-proselytizing in some extent. And most importantly, they do not negate the validity of other religions as true. In that sense, Hinduism and the commonwealth of spiritual traditions that it represents is very different from other Abrahamic faiths like Islam and Christianity, because the primary agenda, primary belief of Islam and Christianity is that it alone is the true path and all other paths are false. That its God alone is the true God and that all other gods are false. Therefore, by implication, both Islam and Christianity ask its followers to convert the non-Muslims and the non-Christians into their respective faiths, because it's a divine ordained injunction on those followers, because their path is the only true path. This is a fundamental difference that we must keep in mind. So when these faiths came into India, through invasions or through trade or anything, and exposed themselves to the native traditions of this land, the natives of this country were very surprised to see that a religious tradition which was exclusivist, which did not give validity or legitimacy to another faith, exists, and that there were active conversion attempts that were being made through sword, through enticement, through all kinds of methods to get more number of people converted, the Hindus converted to that faith. So this essentially warranted and necessitated a very important social and political response by the native Indian traditions to save itself from the aggression from these foreign faiths. So in the course of this aggression, in the course of defending this aggression from foreign proselytizing, converting faiths, the whole idea of Hindutva came into being. So if Hinduism can be described as the potential energy of Hindu Dharma, Hindutva can be described as the kinetic form of Hindu Dharma, where a Hindu is aggressively is defending within all his might his right to live, his right to practice his religion and his spiritual traditions from the onslaught of these proselytizing exclusivist Abrahamic faiths. So this in essence is Hindutva. And why is Hindutva very essential and important to today's young people? The second part of your question. Like I mentioned earlier, at the cost of repetition, the philosophy of Hindutva stands firmly on the grounds of liberty, on the grounds of an individual having absolute freedom to determine to himself what is the right path that he must follow, whether it is spiritual or any otherwise. So the fundamental premise on Hindutva is the foundation of liberty, where each individual has the right to seek truth the way he wants and in the path that he wants. We believe, all our darshanakaras, all our philosophers have believed that truth is one, but the perspectives of truth and the ways to approach truth are many. So if we want in this world liberty of thought, expression, belief, and faith to exist, if we must have the freedom to choose the gods that we want, if we must have the freedom to create new gods if we want, if we want the freedom to decide and decipher on to be a theist or to remain an atheist, to the foundation to either pray a god in form or to pray a god without form, or to not have any business whatsoever to do with religion, if you want to have all of these freedoms, both socially, politically, most importantly, religiously and philosophically, Hindutva as a philosophy must be protected. So for a modern, progressive, rational, scientific thinking young community, the foundations of Hindutva, which is based on reasoning than faith, which places more importance to the human mind and intellect and its reasoning power than blind faith or dogma. This is the need of the hour, and this is why Hindutva is so essential in today's modern day and age for young people.
Right. Yeah, again, fantastically encapsulated. So moving on, right? So you've been an MP for a little over a year now. I want to understand what that experience has been like. Does the age barrier create any problems? I mean, is there any harmless ragging by your seniors in the Sabha?
No, to be very honest with you, the all seniors, and by all I mean irrespective of political party affiliations, have been extremely encouraging. And they have always made time out to talk to you, give you a couple of advice here or there, suggest do this way, this is better. So I think I would say that I have been really blessed to have really encouraging seniors. I must tell you, Roshan, even now, before my book, I have been reading this book of Arun Jaitley. It's on my table. After I made my first speech in Parliament, Arun Jaitley ji called me the very same evening, and just a week or 10 days before he passed away, I had the opportunity to meet him. And he sat with me for 30-40 minutes, advised me on, what books to read, current affairs, how to frame arguments in the floor of the Parliament, all of these things. So, the BJP is the strength that it is today, not because of, not because of chance, but it is because it has leaders like Arun Jaitley, leaders like, Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, B.L. Santosh, all of these great men who not only identify talent, not only identify young people, but they also nurture them by giving them opportunities, correct them when they are wrong, and, ensure that they work on their limitations to become even more capable assets to the party and the ecosystem. So in that sense, I have been really effective. But having said that, I must also tell you that when you're young and you come to offices like this, there is a general presumption, especially by the bureaucrats and by a few distractors, who think that you have come here by a mere chance and not because of your capability or your hard work or any of that. So that makes it all the more necessary for you to prove your detractors wrong, not just on one day, but on an everyday basis. Because in politics, you may do 10 things right till today, but if you do one small goof up today, it is your goof up that everybody, your detractors speak about, and they never congratulate you or give you credit for the good things that you have done. So this kind of has made me make even more effort. So if I have to speak in the Parliament, even for 2-3 minutes, you may have seen, most of the time I don't get a lot of time in the Parliament. Many times I keep requesting the speaker to give me 30 more seconds or 1 more minute. But even if I would have, have to speak for 2 minutes, I would have made some effort to ensure that those 2 minutes are worthwhile. So that the next time that, my party feels that, they must give me an opportunity, they will feel that, okay, this guy can actually put forth the party's viewpoint in a substantial manner. So I think in an effective manner. So I think overall, there is some kind of an ageism, but it depends on how you see it. If you see that as something belittling, I think it would be very self-defeating. But if you would see that as a challenge where you can actually, it motivates you to be your better self, your better, version every single day. That is, I think, a much better way of, approaching any of these, discrimination which is not in your control. So I think. It has been an extremely humbling and a great learning experience from, attending to people's civic grievances in the constituency. There's no water properly, or there's a street dog problem, or there is, a monkey menace in some case, to getting people who are stuck in Tanzania or, Australia or Holland, come back to the country. talking with external affairs minister and requesting them to expatriate our constituents, to championing for rights of senior citizens, pension holders. So understanding data privacy issues, and being a part of the standing committee, to agitating for farmer rights, understanding the opposition's vested interests and trying to write for, speak against them. So it has been a very huge gamut of experiences. So, both inside of the parliament, at the standing committee, at official meetings outside, in the constituency, among various citizens groups. So, these are very multiple layered, experiences. And I think there are a lot of things that can only be learned through experience. And I think you only get better. It's like, wine. So, the older and more experienced you get, the better you understand all of these nuances. So, yeah,
right.
that pretty much sums it up.
Right. So on a related note, how do you handle that pressure of responsibility? I mean, there are so many things that you have to keep on top of, right? So what are some of your go-to methods to do that?
So Roshan, I think, the first thing is, the Prime Minister is an abundant source of inspiration. I mean, people keep, especially, all those people who make fun of us and say, oh, Bhakt and all of that. I can, say I'm proud to be a Bhakt of a man like Narendra Modi. And it's unfortunate that you don't have a leader to be, proud of and to call yourself, a Bhakt of a leader. Because, my leader represents absolute honesty, sincerity, and integrity. So, one point of, how we go about this is, people have given us an opportunity. And 24 lakh people in my constituency have reposed their faith, Roshan. And, more than 3.5 lakh people, my margin of victory was more than 3.5 lakh, which was the highest in the history of Bangalore city's elections ever. From the day there have been elections in Bangalore, from 1951 till today, the highest margin of victory has been mine. So that is such a humbling experience when you feel that people have given you so much of responsibility. So every single day when I wake up, my commitment to myself is this. I tell myself that this is one more opportunity, one more day where I can make a difference in the life of so many people. So the day approaches like that. Second, Roshan, I am telling you that I'm blessed to have a very fantastic young team. We are a startup in so many sense. Every single, guy or girl in my office is below 30 years. So all of us are, in the age of 27, 28, 29. These are our median age. But every single day, just after I was elected, many people, many well-wishers actually called me and told me that, I must take a couple of very senior advisors, very senior staff to help me with the office. But I trusted in my young team. Because, if my Prime Minister could trust in a young guy, I must be capable, I must be trusting in my young team. So all of us are, like I told you, in the median age of 26, 27, 28, from addressing the smallest of issue of, a police station level issue, to ensuring repatriation of our stranded citizens in a different part of the world. Our young team has done that. From understanding representation by bank association people, from retired employees, from textile mills and owners, to responding to real life situations like COVID, to bringing technology to governance, to understanding, the sensitivity of how we have to talk to a weak and, physically challenged, disabled, specially abled people. So, all of these has been the strengths of a young team. So one, I would say, absolute honest commitment to your cause and work every single day, which drives not only me, but our entire team. And second, our entire team believes in the same credo and ideology of wanting to do the best every single day. So I think these two things are something that, gives us this strength. And to be very honest, Roshan, this is a full-time job. You cannot, if you want to be a serious political representative, you need to know that this involves a lot of sacrifice, especially at your personal life front. So we derive a lot of pleasure, a lot of joy in the work that we do, and the process of getting things done. When you get a citizen calls you asking, that he's breathless or his father is breathless and they are in need of a bed, in a COVID center, and you arrange for that. If somebody comes and tells you that this is a long-standing problem which hasn't gotten solved in the last 30 years, and you get that done. So those, the joy of the reward of the work and doing the work itself. So if that philosophy motivates you, then I think, there's nothing stronger than that. And that has been something that has blessed us.
Right, fantastic. Yeah, I agree about your staff. I've had the opportunity to interact with a couple of them over the last few weeks, and I must agree, they're really patient, sincere, very kind people. So speaking about Bangalore, right? How do we deal with all of the civic problems that plague the city, like traffic jams or infrastructure? How do you see them improving going forward?
Roshan, this problem of Bangalore's traffic, problems of Bangalore water management, all of these, are not unique to Bangalore itself, alone. These are systemic problems that are, plaguing most of our cities. And Bangalore, because it happens to be a very young and a very burgeoning, dynamic metropolis, these problems are seen, most felt visibly. Now, one of the reasons for this, if we have to address it at the root, is that, from the time of our independence, most of our policymakers have always had a very romantic idea of a village economy and a sustainable, and, of powering our economy through the villages, which has been a fundamental problem. The only mainstream political leader who brought the virtues of urbanization and called for better urbanization, planned methodical urbanization in India, is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Before him, with the exception of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, there has not been any Prime Minister who has effectively and who has put forth urbanization in a very effective manner. Urbanization was seen as a bane, and this, resulted in most of our cities not having robust administrative structures. And, to a certain extent, Rajiv Gandhi, by the 74th Amendment, brought about, gave the constitutional status to our municipal corporations and panchayats and all of these things. However, even to this day, most of our urban bodies, and in this case, the biggest example is Bangalore, most of our urban bodies do not have a strong and robust administrative mechanism. In Bangalore, for example, the Karnataka Municipal Corporations Act 1976, the principal legislation under which the Corporation of Bangalore, is administered under, is a very archaic piece of legislation where there are different parastatals are operating in different spheres. So, for example, the authority which deals with water does not talk to the authority which deals with stormwater drain. The authority which deals with segregation of waste does not talk to the authority which is in charge of waste management and processing of waste. So basically, all of these, BMT, the bus is handled by a different authority, metro is organized by a different authority, rail is by a different authority. So all of these different authorities do not talk to each other, which is one problem. The second problem is that the mayor of the city does not have any executive powers, and two, his term is for 1 year. You just asked me a question now, in the last 1 year, what has been your learning? So 1 year can only effectively be that of learning. And if in 1 year, if you are expected to, govern a city as big as Bangalore, which has about 198 wards, the mayor can't even make a cursory visit to all of these wards. And trust me when I say this, all the past 5 mayors of Bangalore under the BBMP, all of them put together have not completed 198 wards of, visiting, inspecting all 198 wards. So this is a very structural problem. So whether it is traffic, whether it is water, whether it is urban governance, this has to be addressed by effectively by putting in place a robust administrative process. So from the first day in office, I have always tried to impress upon the Chief Minister that Bangalore needs an exclusive legislation which A, brings all parastatals together, B, gives enough administrative and executive authority and autonomy to the mayor of the city, and there can be more participation of common people through ward areas, ward sabha, so that there can be a more democratic participation in decision making in the city. Thankfully, the Honorable Chief Minister has now accepted this idea, which was pending, mooted from a very long time, and now a new bill for Bangalore is being mooted, and now for the first time Bangalore is going to get a new bill which is going to address all of these three issues, hopefully. So I think that is going to address all of these systemic problems. Sorry I took some time, but this is a comprehensive answer, because right, all of these problems, Roshan, is a symptom of this underlying disease. So if we keep addressing the symptom and not the disease, we will only be putting forward, we will only be postponing the surgery, and the patient will continue to suffering.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are no magic wand kind of solutions to plenty of this, right? It's deep structural issues that you have to sort out for sure. So let's take a step back and think at the state level, right? There are several states right now competing for investments and new factories and so on and so forth. What is the state government doing to keep Karnataka state competitive for the investors, and are you working on any particular initiative that you would like to share with us?
Yes, so investments and economic growth always happens if you create a comprehensive ecosystem for that, and the ecosystem has various components. The reason why Bangalore is the growing city it is today is not because of just one component. We have good educational ecosystems, we have good, a relatively good infrastructure, we have, a very capable, talented population. We have many companies which have come together for many years, which has created this ecosystem together. We are at a risk-taking, a young population. So all of these has come together to make the blend of the success that Bangalore is. So to take this success forward, what we would need is to build on all of these trends. So, starting from, the new education policy is going to get unleashed most of Bangalore's education institutions to, take their capacities and excellence to the next level. It will attract more innovation and more investment and more talent from around the world. And by our educational institutions, elevating themselves, they are going to be the launchpad for a lot of talent in the city. And that in turn is going to bring a lot of startups, more investment, more VCs, more angel funding. So this ecosystem is then going to come. And to propel all of these, it is very important that we need to create enough infrastructure. So insofar as, this whole Bangalore thing is concerned, I have been at the forefront of demanding and, asking for an exclusive legislation for Bangalore, which I think when it materializes is going to be a very, very important game changer. Second, insofar as the city's big ticket infrastructure projects are concerned, we are trying our best to ensure that the city gets its suburban rail project, the outer ring road metro project approved as soon as possible, so that it will, address the traffic woes of the city. Third, whether it is the electronic policy of the country, whether it is the subsidies, representing the country's startup ecosystem, all of these things I am at the forefront in the parliament and outside of parliament. So, I have been working with industry bodies, whether it is textile industry, whether it is our electronics and semiconductor manufacturing industry, whether it is the startups of our city. All of these organizations my office very closely works with, so that we can put forth their concerns at appropriate policy making levels, so that conducive policies are made which will facilitate their growth. So I think at the administrative, structural and governance related matters, as well as representing policy matters and championing policy causes for the key constituents of the city, I'm trying my best to put forth all of these are finds a voice.
Right, right. So listening to you speak, I noticed that a lot of things have changed with politics and our ministers itself, right? So how many of our ministers would have spoken about startups or venture capitalists sometime back even, right? So that's a refreshing change that I noticed. But what are some of the
See, all of these, if you look at one of the biggest changes that has happened in Indian polity after 2014 is a change in the vocabulary, of Indian polity. And this again and again is because of the Prime Minister. Because, when did you hear before him anybody speak about competitive federalism, cooperative federalism, ease of doing business, minimum governance, maximum, minimum government, maximum governance, ease of, ranking states between, their performance, startups, all Stand Up India, Startup India, all of these became a part of our political lexicon because of the Prime Minister. So if, credit has to go there.
Yeah, so clearly a lot of things have changed over the years, right? And, as you rightly pointed, maybe 2014 was the harbinger and Prime Minister Modi was the change agent, right? What are some of the fundamental changes that you see going forward in politics?
Prime Minister has disrupted politics in an irreversible fashion. The first thing that I see is this whole secular brand of politics, which in all these years meant appeasement of the Muslim minority to the at the cost of the Hindu majority, is something that is irreversibly changed. A political party cannot afford to be seen as anti-Hindu anymore. So this is a very big change that has taken place. Second, governance and delivery on governance parameters is now become the central yardstick on which people vote in elections. So from sparsely attended policy conferences, Prime Minister has brought to the big political rallies the charts of policy making, ranking, nuances of good governance. So all of these things where he has brought good governance as the mainstream of political discourse is a very irreversible change. The third thing that has changed irreversibly going forward is India's politics is here on going to be aspirational. Our young people cannot be the whole politics around divisive issues, whether it is over reservation, whether it is over caste, whether it is over religion. These are not going to be issues which will impact and impress our young people. It has to be aspirational issues. It has to be issues which will give them a sense of pride in their civilization and a sense of purpose in their perspective and in their futures. So I think these three things are fundamentally different in terms of India's change in India's polity.
Right. So I want to pick up on the last thing you mentioned, which is youth in politics, right? Now, the youth have a very impatient nature, and politics, often is seen as a very slow-moving change, right? It takes many years, if not decades, for things to materialize. How to, bridge this sort of aspiration without leading to some kind of crushing cynicism with the youth as such? So, what would your prescription be for the youth?
Well, I would go back to what I repeated earlier, Roshan, when I said your predominant drive must be to do something and not to be something. So, if you want to be in politics and if you want to aspire to do something here, that ideal, which is impersonal, that is going to drive you and keep you going. Second, Impatience is good, because impatience is what gives you, with what motivates you, with brings forth the positive anger in you to make things better, and see and facilitate any change. Having said that, impatience does not mean that you do not have to be prudent. Politics is a field where it's the art of getting the possible done. So, at the cost of not compromising on your core beliefs and faiths and your core value system, it is very important to move forward every single day, albeit an inch. Some days if things are all conducive and all variants and variables are, coming together, then you move a mile. And on those days when, there are more variables than constants, then you move an inch. But move you should. So that is something that must motivate all of us. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Charaiveti, Charaiveti, which means keep moving and keep moving. So, in politics, our ideal must be so big, our dream, or the idea which inspires us and motivates must be so big that even a single ounce of progress, even a single inch of progress towards it must give us the satisfaction that somebody else will also come tomorrow and take it forward. Imagine when our party was founded and party started saying that we are going to repeal Article 370 one day. I don't think, anybody took our founders seriously. But the whole party, their founders, the cadre, they kept moving. Some days we kept moving an inch, on the other days we moved a mile. But moved we did forward, and because of that today, we are the strongest and most potent political force in India. So I think, moving towards the idea every single day, irrespective of whether you face defeat or whether you face, unbridled success. I think this motivation, this seeing, this equanimity in approach is something that is very essential for all political activists.
Right. Activism is, especially student activism as such, is associated with people want to change the system, reform the system, and so on and so forth. But what you are advocating is working within the system, right? If you can give us a few examples of how that has worked in your personal life itself, working within the system to affect some kind of a change.
Well, disruption is something that you can bring about in every walk of your life. So for example, let me just give you one example, the smallest that maybe all of us can relate to. When I was given in charge of the BJP social media account, I said that there must be a different method in which our tweets must be drafted. The language must be more millennial. And we must start using, memes, and we must start using cartoons, and maybe we must, that must be a different approach. For a very long time, many in the party said that is not how a serious, political account can tweet. But then I kept asking, for permission. So finally we said, on one tweet, allow me to, write the way I want and maybe use a meme, and then they said, okay, for this one tweet. And then we got a screen grab from, I think, the most popular series that time was, I think, Narcos or House of Cards or something. So we got a screen grab from that, and we used that to reply to Rahul Gandhi or something. And that post became viral. Right. And then looking at the traction, then, the seniors felt, okay, maybe this is a new language. And then we employed it to 2 other places. So that way, then finally they had faith that, we can actually give the credentials, the password, username of the official party account to these, young guys, that they will not goof up. So, that was a small disruption in the way of political communication, by being within the system. And likewise, when you're in a parliamentary standing committee, if you're debating and discussing a bill, maybe you can bring together, bring to the table a lot of fresh ideas which have not been hitherto brought about or, given importance to. That is a way that can be done. For example, during the whole COVID thing in the city, our young team of, in our office came up with this incredibly capable platform, which was a WhatsApp-based platform, where, we took about 18,000 Kirana stores in my constituency were geo-mapped. All of them were brought on a common WhatsApp bot platform. So we gave out essentially one phone number, which people could SMS or call or even WhatsApp. And the WhatsApp bot would prompt them and ask them what they needed. And we had tied up with 8 or 10 different, home delivery companies, Swiggy, Rapido, Dunzo, all of them. So sitting from the comfort of your home, a senior citizen or anyone could use our WhatsApp bot, say that I needed these essentials to be delivered. The smallest Kirana store nearby our house would get this message triggered on his WhatsApp bot, and he would keep the essentials ready at his delivery table. One of these delivery executives from Swiggy or Rapido would go pick it up and would deliver it to the citizens' customers' place. And all of this was done by a young team of engineers and volunteers from our office. And what is most impressive about this? Just a few days after we did this, by taking the smallest grocery stores online, by using WhatsApp as the medium of communication, Mukesh Ambani announced his major deal with Facebook and Jio to take e-commerce to the smallest Kirana stores. So you can bring disruption. In just a matter of about 20 days, we could essentially supply essential commodities to more than 1 lakh homes in Bangkok. So this is again a disruption of some kind of innovation in administration during COVID. So I think when you are inside the system, you have an opportunity to see the problems from different perspectives in a holistic manner, and that gives you a very important a bird's eye view on how you can change things. And innovation is something that you can bring about everywhere, Roshan. Innovation is not something that is limited to technology or a startup. Innovation is how you administer your office. Innovation is in the way you facilitate interaction between your citizens, your constituents, and your office. Innovation can be about technology and governance. Innovation can be in about your method of communication. So all of this is innovation. So when you're young and you have a young team, so you can bring about these kind of disruptions in every way.
So I'm actually going to ask you, how governance and life in general has changed in this COVID world that we're living in. You covered that, but anything else that you would like to add to that?
Nothing more. I mean, I'm really thankful for the opportunity that you have given me to be a part of this platform to discuss. I look forward to more such interactions. I'm very hopeful that in 2019. By giving me an opportunity to contest and be a voice for a lot of young people, the party just opened one, a space. More of these opportunities are going to open, whether it is politically, whether it is socially, in all different walks of life. And I am very hopeful, Roshan, that in the coming days, we will see more and more capable, committed young people at the helm of affairs in India, who will take this young country, an eternal civilization, forward to its glorious predestined position.
Right. So Tejasvi, one last question that, on a completely different note, right? Sometime back, we saw your pictures with Power Star Pawan Kalyan, the Jan Sena leader. Yes. Can you tell us more about, your experience meeting him and how he joined the NDA?
He has always been ideologically somewhat, towards the Hindu cause. So, when his office reached out to me and said, that they are keen to take the conversation forward, I was very excited because, he is a very commendable force in Andhra Pradesh. So, then I spoke to a couple of seniors in the party and, they said that if he is interested, then we will take the conversation forward. And I then thought that maybe they will ask a very senior member of the party to take it forward from there. But the party said, no, why don't you go and talk to him and see how things go? Then I went to the party. I went to Mr. Pawan Kalyan. We met with him in Hyderabad along with MP Pratap Simha. All of us went together, and then we had a discussion with him about the larger ideas which drive him, and which the common grounds on which we think will bring all of us together. So on most of the agendas, most of the broad ideas, he felt that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was giving a very, very important leadership to the country, and that all of us must support. So he said, he was very keen that, especially in Andhra Pradesh, a lot of young people are tired of dynasty politics that is completely riddled in corruption. So he said that a credible alternative can be presented, a more nationalistic, alternative. So that's how the discussion took forward, and the rest is history.
Thank you for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you by the team at Bharat Varta. If you liked this podcast, then don't forget to share, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite platforms. We're available on Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Breaker, YouTube, and a host of other platforms. We started Bharat Varta to facilitate long-form discussions on politics, policy, and culture. We don't necessarily endorse anything that was said in this episode. If you do wish to offer us any feedback on the content or anything else, do reach out to us on social media or get in touch with us on our website, www.bharatvarta.in. The links are in the description below. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and Jai Hind.